Good morning, sir. I am R. Ishan Sanjeev, third year AIDS. I am going to explain about abstract classes and interface. So, objective of this chapter is to explore the concept of abstract classes and to understand interface and to understand the importance of both. So, let's take a look at abstract class. So, what is an abstract class? So, abstract class are often referred to superclasses which do not have a meaning or does not directly relate to a thing in the real world. It is an artifact of a generalization process. Because of this, abstract classes can be instanced. That means they are also called as placeholders in the abstraction. So let us take a look at abstract class. In the following example, the superclass represents the objects taken from the problem domain. The superclass represents an abstract concept that does not exist. So let's take a look at this. In this, the abstract superclass vehicle has a string as make, and the string as model, and an integer as tire count, in which it is extended as car, which is a int trunk capacity, and truck also have a bit capacity in int. So this is the UML representation of an abstract class. So let's take a look at what we shouldn't do over abstract class. So every abstract class increases the complexity of the design. So you have to make sure you have a better design, but also have to use the abstract class. Ensure that you receive the acceptable return in terms of your functionality. That is also very important in abstraction. And then let's go on to create an abstract class. So first we have to create a public abstract class and then a class name. In that we can give a set of integer values, public or private, and then we can create another class in which we have to extend the superclass. So the superclass is the abstract class, and the normal class we are extending from, that is called as abstract class. So here we have created a vehicle and created another two classes called car and trunk, from which we have extracted vehicle again and again. So in this part you can use the integer which are similar to the elements in the class vehicle. So let us take a look at abstract methods. Abstract methods can also be abstracted. Abstract method is one of the most signature method which has been provided, but no implementation is given for the method. Any classes which contain abstract method must also be abstract. So we can generally see this with the example, but abstract classes has both concrete and abstract method. Let us take this and move on to the example. So let us take the example abstract class method. So here you have transaction which has a compute value int. Okay, the abstract method contains an abstract value, and then in which you are making a normal classes such as retail sale which has compute value, and stock trade which also called has a super value. So in the following example, a transaction value can be computed, but there is no meaningful implementation that can define with the transaction class. So that is the abstract method. So let us take a look at defining abstract methods. So here public class transition is created. There is no implementation in that. You have simply created a public abstract in compute value. There is no implementation for that. And then while you create a public class retail sale which extends to the transition is the superclass, there you can use the compute value again and again. And in the stock trade also you can extend the transition and also use the compute value again and again. So let us take a look at interface. An interface is something similar to the abstract class, but it also has exceptions, and you can only define product names. So interfaces are defined using the interface keyword. That is, if an interface is public, it might contain the file that has to be in the same name. And the another important part about interface is the interface is more abstract than abstract classes. So declaring an interface. So here you can see in steerable Java, if you have created an interface called steerable, in which you have two functions, turn left and turn right. And in car.java you have created car which extends vehicle which implements this steerable. So we have extended abstract class and implemented an interface, and then you can use the function which is defined here, turn left and turn right. Okay, that is called an interface. And let us take a look at implementing interfaces. A class can only inherit from one superclass. However, a class may implement several interfaces. So you have to clearly get that. That is, a class must only inherit one superclass, but a class may inherit several interfaces. So as a class which implements an interface must provide an implementation for all the methods defined in the interface. So if a class if a class is implementing an interface, it must provide all the implementation, because the interface doesn't have any implementation for the method. It just has a method name. So if you are implementing interface, you have to define every method in them. So declaring an interface, you can see we have already studied about this. Here you can see that public class car extends vehicle which implies steerable and drivable. So two interfaces are defined here, in which we have already told the turn left and turn right or the methods in steerable, and you have to implement all the methods that are in the drivable to execute this, otherwise you will have an error. So inheriting interfaces in a superclass, implementing an interface is, its subclass is also implementing the interface. So you can see here a class vehicle implements variable. You have just created something without the usage of abstract classes. Thank you, and the next will be followed by Tavish.
Hello everyone, I'm Navish. Now we are going to discuss about abstract classes versus interface. Mention one position abstract class instead of an interface. The subclass superclass is genuinely an easy relationship. The abstract class can provide an implementation of complete level abstraction. Mention one use an interface in place of an abstract class. The method define percent a small portion of the class. The subclass needs to inherit from another class and cannot reasonably implement any of the methods. Main difference is methods of a Java interface are implicitly abstract and cannot be implementation. In Java, abstract class can have instance that implements a default behavior. Variables declared in a Java interface is by default running. An abstract class may contain non-final variables. Members of a Java interface are publicly by default. A Java abstract class can have user favors of class members like private, protected, etc. Java interface should be implemented using the keyword implements. Java abstract class should be extended using the keywords extends. An interface can extend another Java interface only an abstract class can extend the another Java class. A Java class can implement multiple interfaces, but it can extend only one abstract class. Interface is absolutely abstract and cannot be instantiated. A Java abstract class can also cannot be instantiated but can be improved if the main exists. A Java class may implement an interface by extending any number of interfaces. However, an interface may not implement an interface. Abstract classes and interfaces. You can declare an object without defining a person thing. Similarly, you can declare a method without defining it. Public abstract void drop int size. Notice the body of the method is missing a method that has been declared but does not define an abstract method. Any class contain an abstract method is abstract class. You must declare the class with the keyword abstract. Abstract class my class. An abstract class is incomplete because missing method bodies. You cannot instantially create a new instance of the abstract class. An instant and abstract class. The coupler define all the inherited abstract method is complete and can be instantiated. Supply does not define all the inherited abstract method. Too much abstract. You can declare a class to be abstract even if it does not contain any abstract method. This prevents the class from being extensible. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all gather here. My name is S. Mohammed Faisal. I am going to talk about abstract method. Suppose you have a class shape that is not abstract. Shape should not have a draw function method. Each subclass of a shape should have a draw function method. Now, suppose you have a variable shape figure where figure contains some subclass object such as dot. Given shape as abstract method draw function method, so it includes the shape. A problem in this there is a syntax error because some shape might not have a draw function method. So for the third solution is a actual insert must have a draw function method. Now we're going to see about interfaces. An interface is a declared describe method but does not separate bodies for them. All the methods are implicitly public and abstract. You cannot instantiate an interface. An interface is a very abstract class. None of these methods are defined. A constant is a variable or field that is marked to final. Public final in spring, public final in summer, public final in fall, public final in winter. Its value cannot be changed at runtime. Designing interfaces. Most of the time you will see design using the Sun Apply Java interfaces, but you want to custom your own interface using the animatable class. Implementing an interface one. You extend a class, but you implement an interface. A class can only extend subclass on other classes. When you say a class implement an interface, you are promising to define all the methods that were declared in the interface. It is possible to define some, but not all of the methods defined in the interfaces. Since this class does not supply all the methods it has promised, it is an abstract class. What are the reasons for interfaces? A class can only extend one other class, but it can implement multiple interfaces. How to use interfaces? You can write methods that work with more than one classes. Every class that implement rule set must have these methods. Instead of is a keyword that tells you whether a variable is a member of a class or interface. Class dog extend animals implement pet audio video is equal to new dog. Interface. When you implement the interface, you promise to define all the function in a class. Solution. Adapter classes. An adapter class implements an interface and provides empty method bodies. Vocabulary. Abstract method. A method which is declared but not defined. Abstract class. A class which either contains abstract method or it has been declared abstract. Initially, to create an instance of our class, interface similar to class but contain only abstract methods.